Okay, let's check out this wee beastie. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. Now, I've just picked myself up a new tool. This is the Milwaukee Fuel cordless palm router. So it works on the M18 battery system. I've wanted a palm router for quite some time, and because I'm already invested in the M18 system, it made sense to go with this one. So in this video, I'm going to give you a look at this tool. I'll show you what comes in the box. I'll demonstrate it. I'll tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. It has a couple of issues that I'm not overly happy with, and you guys know I'm nothing if not honest on this channel, especially about the tools that I spend my own money on, and I bought this with my own money. So without further ado, let's get in and have a look at this new tool. Okay, so very briefly, let's look at what we get. So I bought this body only, so I'll show you what comes with this kit. Now you can buy it as a complete kit with batteries. It also comes with the plunge base. So like I say, I bought it body only. So in the box obviously comes the router with the standard base. You also get the fence or parallel guide. You get a larger base plate, so if you're doing for more stability, it's nice to have a larger base plate with it. You also get the dust shroud, so that's nice and handy, very, very easy to attach, which I quite like. You get the two spanners then, obviously for working with the collet, for changing your bits. Now, this is an 11/16 and this is 7/16, so it's in imperial. So if you're anywhere other than the United States and you lose these, that's going to suck because they're not in metric. So there we go. And we also get two thumb screws, one for holding on the fence and one for holding on the dust extractor. So that's exactly what comes in the box. Now that's not too bad, considering if you buy the DeWalt body only, you have to pay extra for the dust extractor, for the fence and for the larger base plate. So that's not too bad indeed. And this comes in around 250 euros for the body in the box on its own. So that's what I paid for it. So there we go. Okay, so very briefly, we'll have a quick look around the tool itself. So on-off switch here in the front, you have your speed controller on your side, 1 to 6. There's the fastener for putting it into the base, so you just release that. It takes the tension off the router. There's your quick release button here, so press that, slots out, nice and easy. You have access to the tool then, drop it back in place, lock that, and then you use your fine adjuster to raise and lower the tool. Now, I have a particular problem with this fine adjuster, which I'll go through shortly. I've seen multiple videos where people are saying there's no slop or anything in the mechanism. There's a particular problem with it. I'll show you as we're going through demonstrating the tool, but this is just a quick look around the body itself. Dust extractor attaches nice and easily. That just clicks straight in there. Thumb screw in the side, that puts that on. Really, really quick to put on, nice and easy, like I said, and pretty simple to take off. Fence attaches on the back here. There's a little issue with that as well, which I'll show you. So yeah, more or less nice and simple to take in and out, very easy to operate, good and comfortable in hand. That's all positive and plenty of power. So let me just put a battery on this and we'll give you a quick look. So two nice LEDs in the bottom. They're good and bright for lighting up the work, which is nice. Now I should just point out to all my American viewers, these are genuine Milwaukee batteries. That's what the Milwaukee Europe batteries look like. They have the large number on the side. I've done a number of Milwaukee reviews and a few people have said, am I using fake batteries? No, these are genuine Milwaukee batteries. They're just Milwaukee Europe, use the large number, that's all. Okay, so there we go. That's a quick look at the body itself. Now let me give you a demonstration of some of the features. Okay, quick look at the tool running. So like I say, simple on-off switch, speed control on the side, which is nice. It has a couple of nice safety features. So it's braked. As you can see, it rapidly stops, which is nice, and it looks like it's giving it a reverse pulse, because if I pull the battery while it's still spinning, you can see that it runs on. So it's using the battery as a braking system, so it's probably giving the motor a reverse pulse to slow it down. Another nice feature is if I turn it on, if the battery dies or I pull out the battery, with the switch still on, if I re-engage the battery, the tool does not turn on. So that's a really nice safety feature. Obviously, if you're doing some work, your battery dies, you forget to switch off the unit and you put in a new battery and that started up, that would be very dangerous indeed. So that's a nice little safety feature, well thought out. And yeah, it stops rapidly, so that's a really nice braking system. No complaints there. Okay, so as you can see, a couple of nice safety features with the tool, no issues there. It's nice and comfortable in the hand. It's not too heavy, around 3 pounds or 1.4 kgs. Actually, let me give you some of the specs there now. So the RPM range is 10,000 to 31,000 RPM. The depth capacity is 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters. Speed settings 1 to 6, like I said, so that gives you 10,000 to 31,000. The collet size, it's a 1/4 inch collet. The standard base opening is 1.5 inches or 38 millimeters. Total height of the machine is 6.9 inches, 175.3 millimeters. And the weight, like I said, is 3 pounds or 1.4 kg, if that stuff matters to you. It's not too heavy. It's a little top heavy with the battery, but it's nice and easy to use, especially if you're using it up on a wall, say cutting an oak for a window or something like that. It's very nice indeed. And the cordless function, no cord, is always a bonus in my book. Now, I've watched a couple of videos on reviews on this before I bought it, and everybody said, like I said already, that the mechanism, the fine adjuster, has no slop, have no issues. Well, I have some issues with the fine adjuster on this that I've noticed. Let me demonstrate that for you now. Okay, so let's take a bit of a close-up look at our fine adjuster. Now, we're locked in place. Now, like I said, everybody said there's no slop in this, but as you can see, that whole screw is moving up and down. And it's about 0.5 millimeter of up and down adjustment when we're locked in place. Now, this causes a slight issue when you are adjusting with the fine adjuster, which I'll demonstrate for you now in a second. But as you can see, there is clearly slop in the mechanism. So either I have a dodgy one or everybody else is not really telling the truth. So yeah, let's have a look at why this is an issue. Okay, let's take a look at this fine adjustment. Now you can see we have imperial on this side, so we're in inches, and we are in millimeters on this side. So our fine adjuster here is marked in imperial, so it's 1/64 of an inch, and you have a dot beside it, so you know which one you've started on. So whether you're going up or whether you're going down, you can tell which direction you've actually moved if you count the dots. So one full rotation is 4/64. 2 30-seconds or 1/16 of an inch. My American friends, come over to the metric system. Stop with the fractions, guys. You're breaking my heart here. I love you guys, but come on, come into the 21st century. Let's move to the decimalization and to the metric system like everybody else. But anyway, this is the problem. So I'm now locked in place. If I go to raise this up, you can see my router is lifting nicely there. Now, however, watch the backlash in this. So if I go to drop it back down, now look, I can move over a 64th and that's not actually doing anything. And the problem with that is, if you think you have it set with the dial here, the router can then drop another millimeter or so. So there you go, that's the problem with this. So again, raise it up, go to lower it. Now you have a load of backlash in that screw and the router can then drop. So you have about 1 millimeter of play here now. So 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, that's not going to make any difference to anybody using this router if they're doing flush trimming, edge trimming, out on site, kitchen stuff, putting in hobs into workbenches, none of that stuff. This won't matter. But if you're trying to do a precision dado or a dovetailed dado or something like that, where you can't have too much slop, then it is an issue. But like I say, this tool is designed to be used probably out on site and stuff. So 0.5 mil of play or 1 millimeter of play is not detrimental for flush trimming. But there you go. That is the issue I have with this tool. You can see it there. Look, that's not actually doing anything now until I start to drop it a bit more. And then we have a little bit of slop up and down. Okay guys, I've had to come in and re-edit this video because there isn't actually a problem with the mechanism. The problem was with me not using it correctly. So I'm going to leave that last bit in this video in case anybody else out there has run into the same issue. It's just a case of me not reading the instructions. So let me show you how there's actually not any slop or play in this mechanism. I am using this incorrectly and I don't want to put out any false information because it's actually quite a good little tool. So this is the re-upload, and let me show you this mechanism again, and then we get on, we shall put some router bits in this and you can see the router in operation. So one more time, let's go through the mechanism. Okay guys, here's the correct way to use this mechanism. I was using it wrong. There isn't actually an issue with this router. So now you can see there's no movement in that whatsoever. So there's an adjustment screw right here. You tighten up with an Allen key And when you want to use your fine adjuster, you have to open this. So you gotta think of this guy as your plunge lock. So there's your fine adjustment. Now that takes most of the backlash out of it. There is still some backlash in this screw, so you can raise and lower it. Then you lock everything in place when you're at the right height. So it's a case of locking this in so it clamps the body of the router and it now will not move. Now something to be careful of is if you tighten this guy up too much. Let me just do this, open this guy up, tighten it too much. Now if it's tightened too much and you have to force this, do not do this, because what I've seen is it can crack the frame. So just be careful of that. Back that off slightly. Just like that, until you get a nice tight snap like that, and now all the play is gone out of that because it's squeezing that body tight. That's how it's supposed to work. So you're not actually supposed to use the fine adjuster with this guy closed. You can strip the threads if you do so. That's the mistake I was making. That's why I had the screw loosened off. I thought I could lock this and just use the fine adjustment. In order to adjust this router, you have to open the clamp. Now you use the fine adjuster. Once you have it set to the correct height, you lock it down. There you go. Okay, let's get a bit in this tool. Like I say, nice and easy. Make sure the battery is out. You just pop it out of its base. Nice and simple. I'm going to put in a coving bit into this. Again, it's a 1/4 inch shaft. Drop that in, tighten it up. You have the spindle lock here. Get our spanner, lock that down. Now you also have a second spanner for catching the shaft, if you so choose, if you really want to lock it down, or to open it, if you need an extra bit of oomph and you don't want to put too much pressure on the spindle lock, you can absolutely do that as well with the 2 spanners. So let's lock that guy down in good and tight. Drop it back in its base, just like that. Lock it down. We put on our dust shroud, just for add a bit of protection and some dust extraction. That goes in there like that. Screw in the side, and hey presto, we are ready to route. Okay guys, let me just demonstrate some bits in this router. Now I'm going to start off, like I said, with the coving bit. I'm just going to put a cove around this piece of 3/4 WBP ply, just to give it a quick demonstration of the router in action. So nice and simple. Let's get some dust extraction in place. We'll drop our router down and get this on. Okay, as you can see, it made pretty short work of that. We have a nice cove all the way around this piece of WBP ply. Again, nice and simple, just a quick demonstration. This thing is certainly not lacking for power. For its size, it packs quite a punch. Now, I'm going to put the dovetail bit in this, and we put a dovetail dado in this using the fence or the parallel guide. Let's do that. Okay guys, our dovetail bit is in. Battery is out for safety, so let's put on our parallel fence. Now, this is another slight area that I have a small issue with. So that guy just sits on there like that. Get your thumb screw, tighten that all the way home, just like that. Now, slight little issue, no matter how much you tighten this up, you can see you will always have that slight bit of wiggle in it. Now, it's not detrimental, it's only a small thing. Again, I have to find something to gripe about. It's not as bad as the slop, or it's not as problematic, I suppose, as the slop in the fine adjuster. But you can see that this is just a little bit wider than the locating stud or notch. And it's either a case of this is too wide or that's too narrow. So you have a little bit of play there. Again, not the end of the world. Let's cut a dovetail into this. Okay, we're all set up. I'm just going to pull a dovetail dado straight through this piece just to give you an idea. Dovetail dados can be kind of hard on the router, but as long as you have a sharp bit, we should be good to go. So, dust extraction in. Let's get that switched on. Okay, so there we go, one dovetailed dado pulled there, so that can be quite hard on the router, but that router was well able for it. A little bit of back and forth just to clear the dust with the dust extraction. A slight wobble at the end because the hose actually pulled on the router, so that's something to watch out for. But you can see absolutely no problem from it there. Little router, packs quite a punch. And that's good and clean dovetailed dado. Now, let's get on and do some flush trimming, which is what this router will probably be used for most of the time. Okay, so here's a typical scenario that this router is most likely going to be used on out on site, and that's flush trimming around windows and doors. So this is a piece of OSB. I just have it screwed to a piece of birch ply. The birch ply is just acting as my straight edge. So you can imagine this is around a window opening, and the carpenter wants to flush trim back around the window or the door. That's the cladding on the house. This will get a membrane on it, and then there'll be a cladding on top of this, or there will be a block work, whatever. Timber frame house, that kind of idea, or routing into a worktop to put in a hob, things like that. That's what this router will excel at. So we have a flush trim bit in the router. I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration of it flush trimming straight through this piece. Let's do that now. Okay, there we go. Nice and flush trimmed. Like I say, imagine this was a window or a door ope, and that's flush trimmed back the OSB, no problem whatsoever. That's 1/2 inch OSB, and it just flies through it. So there you go, no issues. Okay guys, so there we go. That's just a quick demonstration of the power of this little router, and it packs quite a punch. That's just an illustration of some of the jobs you're likely to do with it, and you can now see that the mechanism is actually fine. That's not a problem with the router. The problem was with me, and you know, I'm nothing if not honest on this channel, and I try to correct my mistakes. So I'll let that in the edit, and that's how the drill or the router should actually be used. So plenty of power, packs quite a punch, and with the 5 amp hour batteries, they say it can do up to 250 feet with a 3/8 inch round over bit. That's from a 5 amp hour battery. It's about 76 meters of routing, which is more than anybody would need in a day of routing. So you can see just what it's used for. And like I say, it's ideal for doing that kind of flush trim work that carpenters would do around windows, around doors, cutting out pieces of cladding, that kind of thing. This is what this tool excels at. And I've had no issues with any of my Milwaukee tools. Like I say, I use and abuse these all day, every day. They have yet to let me down, so I can highly recommend the brand. The only issue I did have was with my Gen 2 chuck on my Gen 2 drill, but the Gen 3 drill has a new chuck, a much better chuck, so they seem to have solved that issue. That's the only complaint I've had with any of my Milwaukee tools so far. And now I can see, once I know how to use this tool correctly, there's no issue with the mechanism on this. The issue, like I said, is with me. Okay guys, so there we go. That is the re-upload, the re-edit, the redo of my Milwaukee M18 palm router review. And now you can see the mechanism is actually fine. The problem was with me. So hopefully that'll be a lesson to me, and maybe it helps some of you guys out as well. If you're having a similar issue, you now see how this is supposed to be used. So once that latch is open, you can use the fine adjuster. Once you lock that latch, that's essentially your plunge lock. That locks the router in place so it doesn't move up and down. There's no slop and there's no play. So don't use the fine adjuster, as I found out once you lock that, because you might strip the screw once it's under tension. So there you go guys. Hopefully that's been useful. Hopefully it's been informative, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, think about subscribing. Comments and questions below. Anything you want to know, anything you want to say, just leave them below. I do my best to answer everybody. Big thanks to all my subscribers, all the support guys, and thanks to everybody over on Patreon as well who continue to support this channel. It is very much appreciated guys. So there you go. I'm going to get out of here now, re-edit, re-upload this video. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it corrects some of the issues, and yeah, let that be a lesson to me. I'll see you in the next one guys. Take it easy.